Imagine stepping into a warm, cozy bakery on a chilly morning. The bell above the door jingles as you walk in. The air smells like heaven. Warm bread, melting butter, cinnamon and sugar swirling all around you. You walk up to the counter and say, "Hi, I'd like a dozen cookies, please." The baker grins, scoops them into a bag, and says, "Here you go. That's 13. Wait, 13? You blink. I said a dozen, not a baker's dozen." The baker winks and says, "Exactly." What's going on here? Did you just get a bonus cookie? Or is there something more to this mysterious baker's dozen? Believe it or not, that extra cookie comes with a story that's hundreds of years old. And it all started with fear, flour, and a very strict king. Welcome to Believe It or Not, the show where weird is real and the truth is stranger than fiction. I'm your host, Bryan, and today we're taking a trip back to medieval England, where bakers weren't just making bread. Far too many of them were making trouble. It's the tale of how one tiny loaf changed the way people baked forever, and why, even today, a baker's dozen still means 13 instead of 12. Let's rewind the clock about 800 years. No phones, no cars, no electricity. Just cobblestone streets, horses, and the smell of freshly baked bread wafting through busy markets. Back then, bread wasn't just food. It was life. People ate it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was so important that it was almost like money. If you didn't have any bread, you went hungry. But here's the problem. Some bakers started cheating their customers. They'd make loaves that looked big and fluffy on the outside, but were secretly light and hollow inside. Others would sneak in cheaper flour or shave off a few ounces to save money. Then people began to complain loudly. And that's when King Henry III said, "Enough." In the year 1266, he created one of England's earliest laws, the Assize of Bread and Ale, to make sure no one got ripped off again. This law said every loaf had to weigh exactly the right amount, not a crumb less. If you were caught cheating, you could be fined, thrown in jail, or even locked in the stocks, a wooden frame in the town square where people threw food at you. Imagine poor Baker Bob standing there while the townsfolk yell, "Hey, where's the rest of my bread, Bob?" Splat! To avoid punishment, bakers decided to play it safe. Whenever someone ordered a dozen loaves, that's 12, they'd toss in one extra, just in case any loaf was a tiny bit too light. That extra piece became their insurance policy. And over time, it became known as the baker's dozen. Now, here's a fun twist. At first, bakers did it to protect themselves. But soon, people started to think of it as a sign of honesty and generosity. Customers loved it. They'd say, "That baker's fair. He gives a baker's dozen." Before long, the phrase spread everywhere, from little village markets to the royal court itself. By the time English settlers sailed to America, the baker's dozen had become a symbol of trust and good business. And even today, if you order a bagel or donut and ask for a dozen, you might just get that lucky number 13. So remember, that extra piece isn't just a sweet surprise. It's a delicious reminder of how one smart decision turned into a centuries-old tradition. Now, here are a few believe it or not facts I found while researching this podcast. The assize of bread and ale was one of England's very first consumer protection laws, and it lasted for more than 600 years. Bakers used metal weights and scales to make sure every loaf was perfect. And if their balance was off, even by an ounce, they could be punished. Now, for those of you not familiar with the ounce, 1 ounce is about 25 grams, or the size of a small chocolate chip cookie. Also, in medieval times, bread was so important that the word Lord actually comes from Hafword, which meant keeper of the bread. And today, many bakeries still use a baker's dozen as a friendly way to say, we care about our customers. Now it's your turn to think about this story. It's kind of wild to think that one small act, tossing in 1 extra roll, could change baking history forever. What started as a way to avoid getting in trouble turned into a tradition of honesty, fairness, and trust. And it's a great reminder that doing the right thing, even when it's hard, can make a difference that lasts for generations. So here's something to ponder. If you were a baker back then, would you risk cheating your customers? Or would you play it safe with a baker's dozen? Today, we learned how an ancient law, a few clever bakers, and 1 extra roll gave us a phrase that still makes us smile today. The baker's dozen. Now, before we go, here's a joke to keep things toasty. Why did the baker go to the bank? To get some dough. Next time on Believe It or Not, we're sticking around the bakery, where we'll find out how one of the world's most beloved desserts was born completely by accident. Get ready for the sweet story behind the chocolate chip cookie. Until then, keep wondering, keep learning, and remember, sometimes the truth is weirder than fiction.